230 million children live in countries and areas riven by armed conflicts. And this is the UN that goes around sterilizing people, goes around engaging in massacres, goes around destabilizing. But every time you're at the shopping mall or something, if a woman looks like she's a model, she's wearing a UNICEF shirt. Because that's what models do. Miss America, what do you want to do? I want to help UNICEF help the children. It's like give your money to the Red Cross and half of it goes to gun control, basically. I'm not against you if you ever helped the Red Cross. What you did was good, but the organization itself is a globalist crime syndicate, in my opinion. Same thing with United Way. But the UN makes them all look like angels. And it says they've been orphaned, kidnapped, tortured, recruited, raped, and even sold as slaves. The same New York Times 2 years ago admitted that the UN in the Congo was going in and killing whole villages of people that wouldn't leave their own ancestral land because they had promised it as a carbon sink under the UN. Oh, you can have mines over here for big corporations, but there has to be an offset now. This land can't have people on it, so we're going to force you off. I mean, I remember it had to be like 1998. If somebody's got National Geographic you save, find it for me. It was like 98 because I covered it on air a bunch, maybe 99. It was articles about Burma and a couple of the places about UN buffer zones in those countries, and it showed UN troops, and it said they shoot anyone trying to come in, period. And how they'd run people off their ancestral lands there. I mean, I know that's on record they did that. The UN reportedly killed tens of thousands in Burma alone. But there it was in an article about how good it was, with liberals reading it. So, see, I see an article where the UN's trying to save the kids again. Remember, Prince Bernhard founded the World Wildlife Fund. The other cause celeb thing of every young college girl. He used it on record as a front, look it up, for running giant poaching operations in Africa. You know how much you can get for all that ivory and stuff, especially in China where they grind it up and eat it as a medicinal, for tiger claws and all the rest of it. Last time I heard, I think a tiger claw is something like $5,000 a gram or something ridiculous. The point is that it'd be like Count Dracula running a blood bank. It's just the USO. That's how you pronounce it, right? What's the group they set up during World War II where the celebrities go play for the troops? Yeah, great organization. Does a lot of great stuff. Bob Hope, whole nine yards. Nothing against, entertainment for the troops or whatever. But it was founded by George Herbert Walker Bush, his dad, Prescott Bush, when he was about to be indicted by the McCormick-Dickstein Committee, basically, for being the main Nazi collaborator. So he comes out with a thing for the troops. That's the thing about knowing history, is that it's so frustrating. You see one article like this, and then it makes you think of all the stuff they're doing. And it's always irritating to see the very people involved in all this evil posing as the good guys. Here's another one on the New York Times. Bush and CIA ex-officials rebut torture report. The new Senate report, that's a whitewash, admits the torture. The Democrats are just trying to score some political points. That's why the CIA was spying on them illegally. But it doesn't make Dianne Feinstein good that she's being spied on. See, it's just a ship of rats fighting with each other. But the issue here is, back when they thought they had America eaten out of their hand, they admitted torture on television. Why Jack Bauer tortured every night on 24. He was always right. He was a good guy. But they didn't torture somebody like give us, you capture a code expert who knows how the German code works. Show us how this machine works. We're going to start chopping your fingers off. And what really works is we're going to hunt your kids down in Germany and kill them. We've got hit teams inside your country right now if you don't tell us. That's bad enough, but that would work sometimes in an absolute emergency situation where you know what you're going after. And I'm against torture. But the claims that torture doesn't work, it's not really completely true. What it really works for, though, is false confessions and to flip people over to be double agents to do whatever you want. That's what torture is really all about. And it's what tyrants do, and upright countries don't do it. George Washington, if he caught his troops torturing, because the British troops would torture to get intel, he would hang you. Look it up. And you know why he'd hang you? Because he wanted the moral high ground. If you got caught raping a woman, George Washington would hang you. And foreign generals from Germany and others came over here and really admired the colonial army because it didn't engage in war crimes, and everybody else did. And that's one reason they ended up winning the public support and winning the war, because there was a moral high ground that had to be attained. George Washington wasn't a wimp because he didn't torture, and he didn't rape, and didn't loot. He knew he had to have the moral high ground. Now, he did sit down every morning and sign death warrants on traitors that were working with the British who would be assassinated. That's not torture. So that's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a guarantee that we're going to Hades in a handbasket with all the garbage that's going on. And I've got 3 children, and I love them, and I want them to have a future with your children. And that's why we got to turn this around. Now, there's a story up on drudgereport.com. We also have it up on Infowars.com. I'm going to tweet it out at Real Alex Jones. And Compton on Obama. He launched profanity-laced tirades against the press. According to ABC News journalist Ann Compton, Barack Obama launched a profanity-laced tirades against the press in an off-the-record meeting with reporters. Yeah, I've been watching Obama. He used to seem real slick and happy and kind of bebopping as a narcissist. He looks really upset now. Now he has acid reflux and all this stuff. In a C-SPAN interview, Compton also derided the president for leading the most opaque, that means hard to see through, administration of any I have covered. And this is just the degeneration of government. It's going to get worse and worse. The journalist who retired in August after a 40-year career revealed to C-SPAN's Brian Lamb, I have seen in the last year Obama really angry twice. Both were off-the-record times. I got a question. What is she doing bringing up an off-the-record discussion? I don't like Obama. But if it's not a crime he's committing, you don't bring up an off-the-record discussion. See, these journalists are a pack of rats. They're just as bad or worse as Obama. They go along with the sellout of the country, and then when they retire, they dish dirt on people that gave them confidence. Let's go ahead and play the clip. Here it is.
I have seen in the last year Barack Obama really angry twice. Both were off-the-record times. One profanity-laced, where he thought the press was making too much of scandals that he didn't think were scandals. Another where he took us to task for not understanding the limits he has with foreign policy and the way he's dealing with the Middle East and Iraq and Afghanistan. And I don't find him apologetic, but I find him willing to stand up to the press and look him in the eye, even though it was off the record, and just give us hell.
Does he have a point?
From his point of view, he may, but we cover what we are allowed to cover. And when policy decisions...
And this is all about how the press is in a fight with him and how she was there and she's not going to let him boss her around. All about her. Do you understand, folks? She was in an off-the-record meeting. She's not a journalist. See, I don't claim to be a journalist first and foremost, but if you're in an off-the-record discussion with me, it's that. I don't even tell crew about it. Sometimes I'll have guests during the break start telling me stuff off the record. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. I go, I trust my crew, but this isn't really off the record. You got a bunch of people listening to this. And to watch them, all these swollen people, because they work for mainstream media, acting like, you know, they're sycophantic journalists, and I'm not. I'm a conspiracy theorist. People like this woman couldn't get a William Benny on and have him say exactly right, precisely right. You know why I'm precisely right about the NSA? I've studied it for 20 years. I've interviewed scores of whistleblowers. And I'm just so sick of these sophistic, swollen, dishonorable pieces of trash up there about how they're a big journalist and they're on ABC News. You're a joke! Does she ever say in here why she's opening up about something that's off record? Man, you know why I get mad by her? I'm so sick of telling people something's off the record, and then they go and blabber it everywhere. Because a lot of times you'll tell somebody something off the record to help them or to give them a little tidbit. And in this dishonorable, unchivalrous society, people then take that as, ooh, I better spread this because it's really off the record. Oh, I want to go back to your phone calls. Briefly, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all the listeners for your support. You make the broadcast possible.